Kayun from Malaysia. And for the AWS Cloud application, I will be presenting serverless compute AWS Lambda service. Let's look at some problem statement when it comes to the point that we need to have a serverless solution is that for traditional way, the company might need to purchase a server that will keep on running to host your website, to host your API, which is how the traditional way works. And also, when it comes to the point that you want to have more users and you want to adapt to higher performance, you need to scale up or scale wider, which is the things that you need to work on scalings and you need expertise to work on that. And yeah, like the expected problem that I stated here is there's one is the scalability issue when you need to purchase more servers or you need to purchase higher specification servers for the use case. And so another thing to consider is operational expenditure, OPEX, where you need to kind of plan out the budget for the operational day-to-day operational costs like electricity, manpower, and so expert that need to work on the configuration of these fees and time itself because you need expert to manage on the configuration and so keep an eye on how the server is running, right? What we have here, we have AWS Lambda to remove the need for you to manage the server, but everything keep it in the serverless stance, which AWS Lambda is also an event-driven compute service, and it is very, very fast. And in AWS console is available for 1 million request trigger for free for every account. Why is very fast? Because it is supported by 18 kilo virtual CPUs. That's why it's very, very fast. Okay, let's look at some very important info about Lambda is that the first one is the procedure. How does Lambda works is that you need to set the event source, which will be the trigger of the invoke. When the event is being triggered, the code that you store in Lambda will run, will operate. Then once it's done, you just end. So there is no servers that will keep on running to host it, but it's more event driven. That's why normally AWS Lambda is connected to AWS Event Bridge to have that running and configure and manage it in a more effective way. Right, and so Lambda is very integratable. And how do we integrate with Lambda is we can use the SDK, software development kits, or using API endpoint. And it is available to integrate with 200 AWS services, which includes the one that I mentioned, the Event Bridge. And so you can set up configurations with multiple external services if you need. And as of the language that you can host on AWS Lambda is Java, Go, PowerShell, Node.js, C#, Python, and Ruby. And let's say if you have other languages that you want to host in Lambda, you can actually set up through the external configuration. And let's look at the use case. So I just want to show some demo on how AWS Lambda works and how's the workflow. So in this flow, I have upload file to a mobile application. Assume that you have a mobile application and the user wanted to upload a file and you want to store it in a database. So how it works is when the user upload the file, the person will click on submit and he will trigger a backend API. So the API gateway will be the event source for this Lambda. And once it's been triggered, you will call the Lambda and run the function it's running behind where you want to store your files to a S3, which is the example that I have here. So if there are any pre-processing that you need to configure beforehand, you can actually have everything in Lambda running. And once it's done, you just store the file to S3 and the event will be ended. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you.